Appreciate you all hopping on this morning. Great morning. Appreciate you all hopping on this morning. As you know, we do this every single morning. We have a lot of different recordings that are out there. We have been studying the book, okay? Not just reading, we are studying, right? This is material that you should study by Napoleon Hill, Power of Positive Action. If you haven't read some of his other readings like The Laws of Success, Think and Grow Rich is one of his most powerful readings, something to study. Okay, when I say study, this is not something you read passively and you just see some words on there and then you forget about it. No, you got to go back. You look at any of my books, folks. I highlight, I write in. Okay, I take a lot of notes because this is things that what I realized, bigger than my master's degree. Okay, bigger than pilot training. This is life training for me because I'm learning how to basically attract the things I want and desire out of this life that we live on this earth today. Okay, because God has given us everything inside of us that we need. Some of you may feel maybe incompetent or you don't have the confidence to go further, maybe whether it's this business or whatever you have going on. But I want you to understand today that, especially what I've read here, is you already have guides, which I call God. Okay, God has already given us everything in our life that we need. And if we ask him, he will show us, right? It says, ask and you shall receive. Knocking will be open. Seeking you will find, right? All these are promises, right? So when we start talking about hope and faith, that's going to hit hardcore in this chapter. All I see is Napoleon Hill throughout all of his reading. He's basically talking about hope and faith. Right? He's really talking about heavy faith when it comes to doing what we're supposed to do. Because if we truly had faith and hope, okay, it would put us into action, and we wouldn't worry about all the extra things that are happening around us in the external, right? We wouldn't let external things impact us because we would understand us as creators that we get to create through here on a daily basis, okay? And so this chapter 45, it talks about future self. So I have a question for you all in here, direct question, okay? By the show of hands, or you can type some 1-1s in the chat. How many of you have hope? Okay? And you may say, what do you mean by that? How many of you have hope? Hope is a feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen. How many of you are waiting for a certain thing to happen in your life? How many of you expect to have certain things to happen in your life? Okay. And so whether you meditate, whether you have a prayer life, whether you meditate and have a prayer life, there are some things that you meditate on and that you pray on that you have expectations that will come. That's hope. Okay. Now, if you pray or you meditate, which it wouldn't work if you did it this way, but if you pray and you meditate, but you don't have an expectation for it to be answered, okay, then you're not putting out the right frequency to receive, right? You're shut off. I don't really expect to have it. And listen, I will tell you in my life, I remember the first time I prayed for real, with real expectations. And some of you guys have heard this story. I won't share all of it here, but there was a time in my life where my father, he had been away from us for some time, and I had bumped into him on the streets, okay? And he wasn't in a good situation. And I remember going home and praying that I see my dad again. And this time when I see him, I would make sure he was taken care of and I would put him in a place. And I will tell you, God is time. I prayed. It didn't happen immediately. Okay, it wasn't something that happened overnight, but it was something that I prayed on every single night, that God would put my father in my view and that I would see him one day. And guess what? At the appointed time, okay, and it was only him, okay, because he made it to a way where it was nothing of me. It wasn't that I just found him. No, it was like, it was delivered right then and there, okay? But I prayed to see my father again with expectations for the first time in my life, and it was delivered. And so that's one of the things that, you can challenge in your walk, that if you pray for something, expect it, just it's not based on time. See, that's the problem with us as human beings. We want to push time, and God is time. He will give it to you when you're ready, when your character is ready. And I'm gonna go through the science behind it, and I'm gonna go through the scripture behind it as well as our reading right here. Okay. And so look, yeah, we all have hope. Okay. I hope that everybody on here has hope. And if you don't have hope, I pray that, I'm gonna pray that you do have hope, and hopefully there's some clarity about how you can gain that hope through this chapter and some things we're gonna talk about here. So what this title of this chapter is, Your Other Self. Okay. And really what I believe he's talking about is your future self. You have two people that are in us today, right? You have your present person or the person in the past if you're living there, and then you have the person you're supposed to become, the person that you're speaking into existence right now, right? The things that you're speaking into your life right now. Okay, that's your other self that he's talking about here. So he starts off with a quote by Milos. It says, I think that people often make a mistake in a way that they think and talk about things a lot, but there is no action in order to translate those thoughts into riches. Okay, thinking alone is nothing. Thinking and acting upon those thoughts is everything you need. Okay, and we know in this world today most people lack execution. Most people lack action. We all have great thoughts. We all have great ideas. Okay, we think, you ever had that one person, they think of awesome ideas. Man, I got this one thing, and they will talk to you all day long. I meet people all day long that will talk your ear off about what they're going to do and how they're going to do it and blah, 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 but they're a person of no action. Okay? And that's almost a sin, right? Here, because you can't become the person you're supposed to become. We have to become people of action and execution. But we're going to talk about that. It's not just, listen, some of you are like, that's me. No, listen, it's all of us. And we have to learn what the block is that's keeping us from taking action. Okay? There's a point in our life, there's things that are keeping us back from taking action. That's what I'm going to talk to you about in this chapter. A lot of us, we like to go back to our survival mind, our survival mode, because it protects us. Okay, if you were like me and you were born in the hood, you were born in places where there are gunshot rings and things that are happening that are not normal, okay? There are times you need your survival mind to stay alive, okay? But unfortunately, as we move in this life and we want to become successful people, we want to gain wealth, okay? We want to have an abundant mindset, okay? Those things, survival mind did not serve us, because the survival mind always goes back to the past. It says, hey, don't go there. Remember that person, that happened over here. Hey, remember, don't do that, because we need to keep you safe. Because you see, our mind is set up to keep us alive. You know, we have our nervous system is set up to keep us alive, right? You see, we have a fight or flight response in our body, in our nervous system, right? When things happen that are unknown to you, your body has to make quick sense of it and make a decision. And so either your body's going to say, we don't got enough time to run, so I'm going to fight, right? My back against the wall, that's it, okay? Whether we physically fight for real or you go homeless, okay? Now we're talking about your basic needs. When you go homeless, you've reached the very bottom. There ain't nowhere else to go from there. So what happens? There is no running anymore. You can't run from the things. You got to fight. And this is why you hear the great stories of people who did go to almost the brink of homelessness, and they had to fight themselves out of that situation. Now, most of us, we don't want to go to those extremes, right? I don't want to go to the extremes of homelessness so I can become a multi-millionaire / billionaire or whatever, right? I don't want to have to go that extreme. But how we're set up, listen, fight or flight. Most of us right now, you are privileged in a position to flight. You can run all day long because we have our jobs, we have this, we have that, so we flight, but we don't live the life we're supposed to live. We don't live the other self, the future self that's in the future for us, okay? Because we're constantly running away from the things that we hope for, because we're scared to live in the unknown. But we're constantly recollecting and going back to our past. We work on our survival mind. So he says, all the good things life has to offer come in abundance when we first notice them. He says, and we give gratitude to them. He says, when you're thankful for the things that you've been given, right, that you get more of it. So what happens is, some of us, we realize, maybe you had the privilege to accidentally come across some success and you didn't know how you did it. Okay, that was me when I became a pilot. Okay, before I read all these readings that I have here, I manifested becoming a pilot. I just didn't know how I did it. Okay, but I would tell you, well, I do understand, because I was praying to God for the things that I got, but there was a lot behind it. And when I was an enlisted member, I remember going through the whole process, and the day that I made a decision that I wanted to fly for the Air Force. And I remember the first thing they said, and it was some jokes. Some of my friends were like, dude, you never flown an airplane before. And I hadn't, right? My first job, I was a simulator driver pretending to be a pilot, making radio calls as a pilot, but I never actually touched an airplane. Okay. And so I remember I told the young airmen, we were both all equivalent together. And I'm like, man, I think I want to become a pilot. I'm going to put in my package to become an officer in the Air Force so I can be a pilot. And I remember my boy, he goes, bro, come on. You from Compton. Like, you flying an airplane. You never even flown before. How you even know what it feels like? But there was a desire in my heart that hit that I wanted to do that. And one of those big things, it was so inspirational to watch guys and girls walk around in the flight suits. And I was like, man, that's so awesome. And watch the planes take off in there. So I was inspired. And then I came across one pilot, black pilot, that took the time to actually speak to me. And I think that's when the desire got really, really strong, right? For some of us, we have to see someone who has done it before, and that's okay. Okay. I've seen someone who looked like me, sound like me, who had done it before, to put a strong desire in my heart that it was possible. Okay. See, when you find out things are possible, you can accomplish anything, right? Even though we have these promises, okay, in the book, okay, the promise that all things are possible through thou that believe, right? We have these promises. We still, for some reason, as human beings, we need some type of visual sometimes, okay? But for those who embrace that there are all things are possible for real without you having to see them, we call that faith, okay? And we're going to talk about if you can lean heavy on actual faith. I'm not talking about religion faith. I'm talking about faith applied, right? Faith is being able to know something's going to occur even though it's unseen, right? This is living in the unknown, right? And this is what takes you, this is where a majority of people are not in action, okay? Because they don't have faith. Whether you know it or not, you're not going to action because you don't have faith. You don't have applied faith, okay? Because if you had faith, you would do it. But because you're recollecting from who you are and past experiences, and you're not leaning on faith, you're leaning on what's happening, what's physical today, you'll never go into the future self, okay? So therefore, you'll keep on living the same exact way. And this is what he breaks down here. He even talks about here, placement of our attention on some things causes us to experience more of it in our lives. So what are you placing your attention on today? So for me, when I was becoming a pilot, listen, okay, I was that annoying airman like, dude, why are you always talking about airplanes? Why are you always talking about flying? Like, I was so inundated, like I wanted to be a pilot to the point, listen, let's go watch Top Gun together. I was watching Top Gun over and over again. I started living as if I was a pilot, right? We can start talking about the science behind things. Guess what? Atoms and matter only shows up when you see it, blah, 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 blah. We can talk about the science. Guess what? What you focus on gets bigger. It's scientific, okay? What you place your attention on, you give energy to. This is real life stuff. So what are you placing your energy on? Are you placing your energy on negative things? Or are you focusing on positive things? Okay, we've all heard this talk before. It just hits different sometimes. Today I just had an epiphany, like, oh my God. Then he further goes on to say, life is cyclic. Okay, life is cycles. We have cycles in our life and we have to identify them. And he said, just by noticing the good things in life will bring out the positive things in our life. Okay, now here's the catch. You may not be having a lot of positive things happen in your life, but you do have some positive things happen in your life. And depending on what you're allowing to go through into this mindset, right? I like to call your reticular activating system. Are you allowing negativity to go through it, or are you allowing positive things to go through it? Well, I'll tell you how you know this. When people get around you, okay, and you allow negativity to just occur, you're comfortable with negative conversation. If people get around you and they talk about other people and they talk about how the world is going to end and they talk about this is bad and this is bad, and it doesn't annoy you, okay? It doesn't bother you. It goes right in like it's no big deal. As a matter of fact, you can contribute to the conversation, okay? You have allowed negativity to overall embrace your mindset, folks, okay? You are the glass is half empty type of person, whether the glass is half full. See, there's two types of people in this world. There's people who are going to look at the glass as half full and the glass is half empty. Now, I used to say that, right, clichély, and not really embrace what it really meant mindset-wise, okay? And what that really is how do you look at things? Because how you look at things, how you look at the world will be your world, right? If you want to be a positive person, you got to look at positive things. If you want to be a negative person, focus on negative things. So when I look at and say the glass, if I look at this bottle, I'm like, man, this bottle, okay, is a quarter of the way full. Okay? Some of you say that bottle is almost empty because that's what we've been taught to look at things. We've been taught to look at the lack of things and not the abundance of things. Okay? This bottle is a quarter of the way full. Man, it's a perspective thing, isn't it? It's a big deal the way that you speak it. Why? Because you attract, you imprint on what it is that you want. Those desires, those goals, those dreams. When I wanted to be a pilot, listen, I imprinted myself on my dream to the point I couldn't be denied. Man couldn't even deny me becoming a pilot. I remember the chief master sergeant of the base at Tyndall. I remember him sending me out the office. He wouldn't send my package up to the general. And that package was due that Friday. And all I could do was pray and hope. And guess what? God delivered. So even though man said no, God said, yes, this is your time. And I became a pilot. Was it in your life that you feel maybe man is saying no to, okay, that you want, but you don't have enough faith yet? See, faith is going to allow you to continually take action in spite of any and everything happening around you. You know, in our business, it can be that whether the back office is pulling back, people are quitting your organization, people are saying it don't work, the market is down, all the negative stuff that comes through, right? Me personally, listen, I get very annoyed when I hear negative things now, right? I get very annoyed when there's problems with no solution, right? I don't want to hear problems, okay, without a solution. I don't want to hear negativity without a fix, okay? I don't want to hear something that just, if you're just throwing out something that's negative, but it provides no value, then we should not speak it, right? Because it's death. It's doubt. See, one of the easiest things, you know, whether you want to call it the enemy, you know, call it bad things, call it the devil, whatever you want to call it, right? The only thing that the enemy has to do to you, they don't have to kill you. They don't have to hurt you. They just have to use you against you. They just have to give you a small bit of doubt about what it is that you're doing, right? If they want to divert your hope, your expectations for the desired thing that you want, they just have to put a little bit of doubt in there. Do you really think you can outbeat this thing? Well, only this many percent of people are successful in doing this, right? Right? There's not that many black pilots. Do you think they're really going to pick you up? Okay. Well, there's not. You understand where doubt can be pressed out into you? Well, hey, this happened over here. Someone's pointing out the one negative thing that happened, but there's 99 other positive things. And so this is where your job comes in at if you want to be successful at anything. It's your job to be the gatekeeper of your mind. And being the gatekeeper of your mind, the most important thing that God's created for us, right? Millions of thoughts going through here. Listen, I'm going to make sure I filter what comes through my mindset. I'm going to limit my conversation with negative people, period. I'm going to limit my conversation with people who are not going to get me to the next level. If they're not speaking good of me or good of the things that I'm doing, then I'm not going to have them in my life or around my circle, right? Because we are the sum total of what? The 5 people we associate with the most, right? All science folks, we say these things clichely all the time, but we never tie them together, right? The 5 people you hang around, why are they so critical in your life? Because they form a portion of your thinking. They're a part of your social group. Okay, they are part of what you feel alive. They're the people you want to impress most of the time. So your 5 people, if they're negative, you're going to be negative and you'll continually draw negative experiences in your life. If your 5 people are positive, okay, and they only speak positive, it's going to be rare, first of all, that you can bring a negative conversation to them, but you won't even entertain a negative conversation because that's not your circle. So therefore, experiences will start happening to you. And you will start seeing, just like it says here, it says, he said, this form of acknowledging and blessing what we like and enjoy causes us to pay attention and thereby receive more of the same. So if you're in a circle of 5 people who are positive all the time, okay, even when problems are happening in their life, you see them respond positively to those things. And then things start to occur positive in their life and start occurring positive in your life, you see it, you pay more attention to it, and what happens? You're in a positive loop. But unfortunately, that's not our story, is it? Okay. Our story is that we have our same friends. We have our same friends that we came up with that maybe they don't see the world the same way. They see the glass is half empty. And they're like, this happened. The reason I did this happened. And you're like, yep, you so right. Blah, blah, blah. And we get into this ridiculous conversation. And what happens? We draw more of that conversation. We draw more of those people. We entertain that energy. And that's what we draw to us. So are you a glass half full person or a glass half empty? See, I want to challenge you all today. I'm going to give you a challenge, right? Today, I want you to inventory your thoughts and what you speak, okay? And I want you to write them down, everything, right? When you address them, when you state something, I want you to write it down because I want you to look at it and say, was that a negative statement or a positive statement? Sometimes we don't know that we're speaking negative, right? There's times I don't know I'm speaking negative, right? Is it a negative statement or is it a positive statement? So negative is, did it contribute to growth of anything? Did it contribute to someone? Did it help them? Or did it tear them down? Did it tear me down? Am I producing a problem without providing a solution to help fix it? Because problems can help us create products, create services. Right? So either you're the person you're throwing up the problem so you can stop what's happening, or you're throwing up the problem so we can fix it and make it better. Okay, there's two types of people. Okay, there's people who are going to throw problems to definitely, it's like casting doubt, to destruct of it, to kill, destroy. That's your enemy. Or there's people who are throwing a problem with a solution to make it better. Okay, which one are you? Are you throwing the problem to make it better and you have the solution? Or are you throwing the problem to destruct? Okay, so we look in the market that we're in cryptocurrency, right? For those who understand digital currency, look at how the world responds, right? Bitcoin has came all the way from $1. We're sitting at $33,000 right now. It's been all the way up to 65. Okay. A lot of us where we get into Bitcoin at 12,000. Okay. So you have people who got in Bitcoin at 12,000, shot to 65,000, boom, came down to 33,000. And there's going to be two type of mindsets. Oh my God, I just lost $30,000. No. Last time I checked, 33 minus 12, okay, math and blow, 21. 21,000, you're up. The glass is half full. Are you seeing the mindset? I got in at 12, it got to 65. I didn't get it out of 65, came back to 33, but I still say I lost $30,000. That's a glass half empty person. You got to switch your mindset because you're going to attract more of that. And you want to attract more positivity. And so this is where the catch is at of us becoming the new person, of us seeing our future self. Because in order to see our future self, we have to speak life. We have to speak future, right? We have to be present. Okay. And so, a lot of you heard this talk about the chicks in the story of becoming supernatural. And he talked about when little chicks are born chicklets, right? So they imprint themselves on their mother, right? Because the mother is the first person that they see that is moving. But if they don't see their mother, they're going to imprint themselves on the first thing that moves. So they did an experiment in an arena where they took a robot. So instead of them seeing their mother when they were born, they seen a robot that started moving. And this robot was programmed to move all the way around the arena, everywhere, to go wherever it wanted to. It could just move. And when these chicks hatch, they seen the robot. And of course, chicks do what they do. They're going to follow what they think is their mother. Okay. And so what they did was follow this robot all around the gym, around the arena. Okay. Everywhere. Went around the entire arena. Okay. Then the second phase of this experiment, they now took these chicks who were following that robot around. This is just a robot. And they put the chicks in cages. And they put them on one side of the arena. And now what they found was, instead of the robot doing what it did the first time, going around the entire arena when it had the chicks following, the robot stayed in the general vicinity of where the chicks were in the cage at? See, the chicks had imprinted on the robot. Just like the chicks, if they were born, they would have imprinted on their mother. Okay? So their mother already, like as a father, as a parent, right? We already desire, we love our kids, we're gonna hold our kids, that's ours, right? Okay. What they're saying is, we already know the mother typically wants the chicks. Well, now they're just saying scientifically, it's still more to that. Okay. You have to attract what you want. Okay. So those chicks, they desired their mother, but they also imprinted on their mother for their mother to desire them. Okay, so they also imprinted on that robot for that robot to desire them or to have the same energy frequency as them. So therefore, that's why the robots stay on the one side of the gym. Okay, so question: what are you imprinting on? We pray and we ask and we want a certain thing, but we don't have a desire for it. We don't take action towards it. We don't have faith for it, right? Therefore, we're not putting out the right frequency, the right energy to attract, right? Likes attract. We hear all these cliche things. Likes attract, right? Okay. Your energy, your focus will attract the things you want. Just like when I became a pilot, I attracted the experience to me. You know, what is it that you want that you really are attracting to you through your faith? Okay. And your faith is actually seen. Your faith is seen through your action. Okay. So if God was look down and say, well, you have little faith, how do you expect to get this? Well, it's not that you have little faith, it's that you have no action. Okay. Your faith is your action. Okay, you saying that you want a certain thing, you're going to do a certain thing to get that faith. And here's where we go. If you want something to happen in your life, and you want to show your faith, you got to have clear intentions about what you want. Meaning, when I pray, I ask clearly what I want. When I meditate, okay, those who know how to meditate, you're not just meditating and just thinking about nothing, right? When you're in your closet, when I'm in my closet, I don't just go like this and go, there's nothing there. No, when I meditate in my closet, I'm thinking about the new mansion that we live in. I'm thinking about the new cars that are in each of the cars that are in each spot of our 6-car garage. I'm thinking about the gym that's inside of our house. I'm thinking about the elevator, how I go down to the second or to the basement floor where my gym is at. I'm thinking about the pool in the backyard. Listen, I clearly look at where, like, I'm walking through what it is in my experience. Okay, it's happening. Clear intentions. A lot of us, we don't have clear intentions. Imagine you hop in your car and you say, I want to go somewhere, but you don't put the destination in the GPS and you don't know the address. Are you going to get there? No. How about this? How about you're not the driver, you're the passenger. You hop in the car with the driver, you hop in your Uber, okay? But you don't put the address in. How do they know where to take you to? They don't, right? There has to be a transfer of energy. You have to tell them, speak where you want to go. Hey, take me here. And then what? They're going to go there. Well, that's the same thing in our life. We have to state clearly where it is that we're going in our life and not be afraid of it. Hey, God, this is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. I'm so grateful for the present, where you have me right now. I'm so grateful for the things I have right now. Thank you so much, right? Too much is given, much is required. We understand that. So action is required when you ask for these things. Understand that. But these are things you clearly state. So we have to have a clear intention of the things we want, whether we pray for them, whether we meditate on them. Okay, both require the same things. So question, where are you going? You can write down on your paper right now. I want you to ask yourself, if you haven't clearly stated today, where are you going? What do you want? You ever ask somebody, what do you want? Right? People are indecisive about a lot of things in their life, including going out to get lunch. Where do you want to eat today? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, y'all know my trick. Hey, we eating at McDonald's. Okay, let's figure it out. No, put a destination there. Know exactly what it is that you want. Okay. Next, once you have your clear intentions of what you want, that desire, you're going to have an elevated emotion for it. Just like you have an elevated emotion when you get angry. Okay, you're going to have an elevated emotion of joy, gratitude, happiness. These are the things that attract the things that you want in your life. All right, because if you let me, we're gonna do a kind of an example where I'm gonna tell you to write down the things you want, and then if you get those things, how do you feel? Right, and that's gonna create the experience. See, we do this automatically. We do this on the opposite end every single day. Right? let's say, look, I'm giving real life experience. Bill collector's calling. You know it's a 1-800 number with a bill collector. You owe somebody. Either there's two things that happen to you. You see the number, you ignore it. He likes a bill collector, but there's also something else that happens. You feel a feeling. You feel a feeling of lack. You feel the energy. I don't have it. You don't feel good about yourself. You might even pick the call up, and it's the bill collector. Hey, this is the bill collector, blah, this is a recorded call. We know that scenario, right? And they go through and you tell them what? I ain't got it. Okay? And then you're going to go through some emotions with that. Or it may be that you run through a whole scenario in your head about what could happen, and you actually feel the emotion. So you feel the experience. And so that experience is something that you're recollecting from your past over and over and over again. And therefore you attract more of it. Now it seems like every bill collector is calling you because you're attracting that. So just like we can think about all the bad scenarios that can happen in our life and attach an emotion to it, wonder if you can just go in la la land and think about all the great things that can happen in your life and believe it. Hope, faith, right? Faith is the things that are unseen. And say, man, I'm so happy and grateful these things are done. My God, I'm so good walking around the bench. Oh my God, so grateful to happen. We have to travel across the world, right? You have to have the feeling first, right? In the previous chapter, he said, listen, if you want freedom, freedom is not something that just happens, something that you attract. You got to feel free first. Okay, why? Because it cause you to operate a certain way. You got to, when you go to the gym, you got to feel a little bit motivated to go to the gym. You got to feel strong first before you get strong. Why you got to feel strong first? Let's talk about feeling strong first. When I go into the gym, I'm walking through a whole process. When I go to the gym, let's say it's chest day, and there's a bench press. We call it bench press, right? You take the weight, push it up off your chest. First of all, when I put some weight onto the bar, I have to feel strong because I have to know that when I go under the bar, that I can actually push up the weight. Doesn't that require a certain level of faith? If I've never done a certain weight before, but I know I can do it, I have faith that I can do it, I'm strong enough to do it, doesn't it require a certain level of faith? I've never did this weight before, but I'm going to try to push it up, and I'm not scared to do it. So I get into the bar, and I feel strong, and I push the weight off the bar. That's my faith because I've never done this before, and I let the bar down. And I push it up, and I rack it. I just did a set. It's now in my memory. It's a thing of the past. I now know that I can do that weight. But how did I know that I can do the weight? When would I ever put that in my Rolodex? I first have to do it first, right? It was something that was unseen. It was something that was undone. See, there are things in your life that there are some weight that you're going to have to lift off the bar that you've never done before. Okay? And you're going to have the faith that you can lift it off the bar, and you're going to have to just know that I'm already strong enough to do it. Are you with me? Right? Just like some of you say, I want to go chairman. You got to know you're already a chairman. You already have everything there is to be as a chairman. You already have the speaking ability. You already are resilient. You already are a leader. You already have the influence. You got to have the feeling of gratitude. These things are already done and everything's been placed into you to get to that point. And then you do. And then once it happens, you're like, it's done. Now it's in the Rolodex. I completed that task. It's like lifting weights off the bar. And I can do it over and over and over again. But what I can't do, what I shouldn't do, is continually go back to my past experience to make decisions that I think were going to protect me. Okay. So it may be like you hear people like, I've done those things before. I know someone who's done those things before, or this has happened and that's happened. So they take a past experience and they apply it to the current situation. And in turn, we always say this cliché-ly again, right? Insanity is what? Doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results. You know how many insane people we have in this world? Yeah, how many think? See, you think insanity is someone sitting in a loony bin house, okay? A lot of us on this call are insane, okay? A lot of us are living in our past experiences. Every single day, we're insane in our mind, and we don't even realize we should be in straitjackets because we think we're not living in the past. We think we're not reliving our life over, and we blame it on everything else. Why is this happening to me? Oh my God, it's you. You're bringing your past in every single time. You're insane. So we have to imprint on the things that we want in the future. And how do we do that? Faith. Faith. applied faith. But applied faith requires that you live in the unknown. Okay? The unknown is your future. Anytime that you live in the known, you know what's going to happen, I need you to question why you know. Okay. Now, if you know based off of feeling and based off because you ask God for it, boom, you're living in the future, right? That's faith. I have faith that God is going to answer my prayers and I'm going to do the things that I'm supposed to do because I know that God's going to answer them. Okay. That's faith. Or no, I know because I pulled it from my past experience. I know this is going to fail. But typically, when we're in the known, we're never in the known for positive things. You realize that? We're always in the known for negative things. We're always in the known for things that we think are going to take us out or we think are going to impact us negatively. We're never in the known for things that are going to progress us as human beings, because in the known, right, that's not our growth. That's not growth, right? That's not extra stuff being added to us. It's the unknown, right? Me pushing the weight off the bar for the very first time that contributes to my growth. Are you understanding? Right? So if I live in the unknown, that means it will become known once I accomplish it. And now there's something that goes in the road that it's contributed to my growth. Okay. So anything that you do in the unknown will contribute to your growth. This is what you have to know. And the reason people are not growing because they are staying in the known. They're staying wrapped up in their constant past loop over and over again. So this is why after 10 years, you can look back and say, my life is exactly the same. Because I've done exactly the same habits over time. I've been living an insane life. Insanity. Your emotions influence your thoughts. You've lived the same emotion, you've gotten the same thoughts, and you've gotten the same results. And this is the part that we have to change. And so, if I can give this, I know they titled it the other self. The way that you're going to see your other self is through faith. Your other self is on the other side of your faith. It's in the other side of you just walking, even though you don't know what's going to happen. But you know what's going to happen in your heart because you prayed for it, you asked for it, okay? And you have a clear intention picture for it. So here's what I'm going to do before we end this call. On a piece of paper, you can turn the paper sideways if you want to. Okay, I want you to have two sides, one left side, right side. Draw a line in between. And I want you to write down the things that you want, your clear intentions, right? I want to have $1 million in the bank account, whatever the thing is, okay? On your left side, all the things you want, okay? I want a new job that pays me this much money. I want this, I want that, whatever that thing is, I want you to write down, left side. All the things you want, your clear intentions, okay? I want to go chairman. I want to make $130,000 a year. I want to go chairman 50, make $50,000 a month. I want to go chairman 100, whatever that is, right? I want $1 million in cryptocurrency. I want $1 million in my bank account, blah, 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 all those things, okay? Clear intentions. Then once you have that written down, on the right side, I want you to write down, if you get all those things, how do you feel? Right? I feel empowered. I feel happy. I feel joyful. I feel on top of the world. Whatever that feeling is, how do you feel? What is the emotion that you have if you were to get those things? Right? If all of a sudden there was no money problems in your life whatsoever, you can go anywhere in the world. You can buy anything. You can buy mama, daddy, brothers, sisters. You can buy them all a house. There's no money issues whatsoever. You're living purely in abundance. How do you feel? Okay. Now here's the catch. What you wrote on the left side of the paper should not drive how you feel on the right side of the paper. But how you feel on the right side of the paper should drive what you get on that left side of the paper. So you are going to feel first before you get. You understand? So everything you say, I will feel this way, start doing it now. So you're going to start the feeling and the emotion now, the gratitude, even though these things have not occurred yet, but you're feeling that way. Why? Because you have faith that is done. That's why you feel that way, because you trust that God is going to deliver, right? Because whatever your belief level is, you trust that it's already done because you have hope, okay? Which is a feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen. You have hope that is done. That's why you're doing the feeling now. See, we've been living backwards in our life. We've been taught to live backwards in our life. We allow things to happen to us and us not to happen to things. And today is now time for you to start happening to things around you. It's time for you to start recognizing the things, attracting things that you want in your life. But it's going to require action. Listen, this is not a fairy tale or a magical thing that you're going to do. It's going to require that you execute, that you take action. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. What I'm saying is you're going to get those things when you become the character you're supposed to come to get them. That's when you'll get them. You're going to have to walk through some valleys, okay? There's no one who hasn't had to walk through the valleys to get to the peak. You're going to have to walk down to the bottom of the mountain before you get to the top of the mountain. Period. You don't just start at the top of the mountain. It's going to be a process, and it ain't going to be easy. But your faith will keep you walking. Your applied faith will keep you walking, okay? And your applied faith is the walking is the work, okay? And works with, they always say, works without faith is dead, or faith without works is dead, okay? You need the works, you need the action. And that's pretty much, if I go back to what he was saying here, okay? Thinking alone is nothing. Thinking and acting upon those thoughts is everything that you need. That one statement right there. Thinking and acting. And so a person who just bees or who does it, I've always been a person of action, okay? Okay, I would prefer, you ever heard knowledge on ice, right? You have a lot of people with knowledge on ice. They have all this information, this and that. I know this, know that, but they got zero bank account. I would prefer to have some ignorance on fire versus knowledge on ice. What is ignorance on fire? A person who's willing to say, I'm just gonna do it. Okay, what I don't know how to do. I'm just gonna do it. You know, and I'm gonna tell you, because I'm gonna give you a passage from this book. You are better off just doing a thing without knowing how to do it than to know how to do it and not do it. Let me say it again. You are better off trying to do something you don't know how to do versus knowing it and not doing it at all. See, it says that what happens with us, because when things happen, our character's shaken. He says, the moment you forget and start stressing about when it's going to happen or how it's going to happen, you'll return back to your old self, trying to predict the future based on the past. And then you'll start feeling the same old familiar emotions with the same lower energy that influence your same old thoughts, and you've just made the choice to stay trapped in the known. That's it. And so when we have faith, apply our faith, take action with that faith, we'll live in the unknown every single time. And you'll get everything that you've ever asked for because you have faith that you're going to get it. And you just do it until, okay? Remember, God is time, and you can't force time. We can't put a date on it, okay? Yes, we put a date on our goals. Like for us, we put a date on our goals, but there's sometimes, hey, that goal doesn't happen when we expect it to. That doesn't mean because your goal date didn't happen that you quit, that your goal date didn't happen, that it ain't going to happen. It just means that it's going to require a little bit more work from you, a little bit more faith, right? A little bit more of the unseen, okay? But you got to keep pressing. That's why in this industry, in network marketing, for example, you see top earners who have been here 8 years, 10 years, 12 years, 15, 17 years. And then we aspire to have the results that they have, but we're not willing to go the time. What if I told you it's going to take you 17 years before you make $1 million a month? Will you do it? Will you work just as hard for the next 17 years, knowing that one day in 17 years, you're going to make $1 million a month? That will give you everything that you want. Will you work just as hard? If I give you the date, if God came down and said, really, it's going to take you 10 years working really hard before you can actually be free, right? If God told the Israelites, he said, listen, it's going to take you 40 years. Right now you're enslaved in chains, but it's going to take you 40 years before you. We are back. Can everybody hear me? There we go. I believe I'm back up. How do you hear me? Let me make sure that my.
People are annoying.
There we go. Look, I know it had to be getting good. So listen, I know there is a message for someone here.
For real, we broke the internet. I know there is a message for someone on here. We're talking about faith and we're getting super deep here. So in closing, I forgot where I was at on that last part too. In closing, we got to have faith for where we're going, period. And that's when you're going to become the person you're supposed to become. Listen, everybody on this call, you are absolutely powerful human beings, and all things are possible for real. You can have any and everything that you want, but you just got to believe it and take action that you can get it. Okay. Type of one in the chat if you can hear. I see that I'm on, but I can't see anyone. So I think let me trying to pull my internet back up through about this. That's what I'm gonna do.
There we go. Our backup. Okay, cool. So long story short, and if you can't remember, yeah, that's what we were talking about. 40, listen, if God came down and told you the exact time that it would take for you to work, he says, listen, let me just give it straight to you. It's going to take you 10 years of working hard. And your first 5 years, you're not really going to make any money. Okay. And you're going to go through some obstacles. Okay. You're going to go up, you can go down, you can go through this, but after 10 years, it's yours. Will you still do it? If you knew exactly, because then you would be in the known, wouldn't you? Right now, you would be in the known. You would know exactly what's going to happen. So would you do it? Okay. Listen, that's it. I didn't know I was going to become a pilot, but I had so much desire for it, and I wanted it that it couldn't be held back from me. Just like I didn't know I would be in this situation that we're in now. Like we are living our life. Okay. Didn't know this was possible, but we started reading and personally developing ourselves and getting mentors and learning more and plugging in and plugging into scripture. And listen, we are powerful beings. You can do it all. Okay. So I believe I said, listen, whether it takes you 40 years, whether it takes you 20 years, there is another you waiting for you. And you just got to stay in the present and you got to stay in the future. So that is our call, folks. I appreciate you all. Let's go. In everything that we do, let's continually leave our mark and leave our legacy. I don't know if y'all hear me or not because I can't see anybody moving. But if you can hear me, type of 111 in the chat again. I cannot hear, but this has been